Good morning. This is Newsline, live from the Newsfirst studios in Dawson Street in Colombo. And actually, it's not a wet morning. And joining me on this dry morning is Bandula Jayasekara. Good morning, Bandula.
Morning for us.
And how are you?
Good. That
former diplomat and journalist. I better quickly add that.
It's up to you.
Your fan club.
But I thought you have a bigger fan club. And we'll send you all those Facebook messages later.
Please do. And also joining us this morning, we're delighted to have with us Kesarlal Gunasekara, the Deputy Mayor of the Devila Mount Lavinia Municipal Council. Good morning.
Good morning. Good morning for us.
Former Member of Parliament.
Former Member of Parliament, indeed.
And your neighbour, right? Once upon a time.
Yes,
from
the same area. From the same school, more importantly. You know, as I keep saying, the best place and the only place to be educated is by the school by the sea.
No wonder we are all at sea.
Be that as it may, as Lasanta would have said, what is the state of play when it comes to local governance in this resort area of Mount Lavinia, Devila Mount Lavinia? Very important place. It generates foreign currency.
I know. But I would put it in a very, very brief manner. It's an uphill task because if you take the case of all local authorities since 1987, the centre does not give us much assistance with regard to our programs, which are much needed. And
why don't they give you assistance?
Because after the 13th Amendment of the Constitution, there came this provincial council system, and as a result, we lost the pride of place. Once you lose the pride of place, you realize that you don't get attention.
Or is it because of your vociferous mayor, Dhanasiri Amaratunga?
No,
yeah, he's a troublemaker.
No, the question is that it's the provincial councils. And once the provincial councils stepped in, you realize that whatever attention we were getting from the centre was lost. At least if the provincial councils give us attention, we will not be in this position. So I fundamentally feel that both the centre and the provincial councils will have to look into this, because it's only the local authorities that can drive this country, not anybody else. I always believe in that.
Right. Be that as it may also, why is this famous beach, the Mount Lavinia beach, the closest proper beach to Colombo, where you can say that it's safe enough to bathe and so on, why is it in such a disgraceful condition?
I wouldn't call it disgraceful for us.
Well, the little bit, the bit
in the first place,
the bit towards
the hotel,
bit towards the most famous hotel in this country,
the Mount Lavinia Hotel,
the Mount Lavinia Hotel,
the hotel.
It has to be the hotel.
Yeah.
The residence of the last governor resident in Ceylon.
Yes.
But towards there, and towards the first beachside restaurant as well, is a little navy sort of post, and you need to walk there. Have you walked there this morning? You must have not had time.
I have, but I agree with you to some degree that it needs a thorough cleanup. But you must understand that it has to be a joint venture between the Coast Conservation and the municipality. The municipality alone cannot do this job.
Yes, but you know, tourists and the users of this beach don't know all that.
They know.
When they get down there, they look at the beach.
Yeah.
They want to pristine.
We're trying our level best to do whatever that is possible within our means.
Right.
I don't say that we are being 100% successful,
right.
But there are shortcomings, all right.
Good, and hopefully you're looking into it.
Yes, of course. We have been fighting with the Coast Conservation.
There's another master mariner, resident in Mount Lavinia, who complains that the main road, the Gaul Road, is being blocked every Sunday because of this puller.
The Mount Lavinia puller, the famous puller.
Yes, but you say that this puller has been going on from time immemorial.
For time immemorial.
So this is one of those little things we have to live with.
This is a demand of the people.
Right.
And not only the demand of the people of our area, demand of the people of Moratu and Ugeagod, etc., who patronize this puller, and it's a well patronized puller. And we must understand that the bylanes are being taken up by some of the vehicle owners, but then the balance vehicles have to be parked. So the only place is the Gaul Road. And when we discussed this matter with the police, they said yes, Sunday is okay, not on any other day. They would never permit parking on any other day because they said it's Sunday.
So they're being a bit friendly,
lenient on Sunday.
and being very community-centric.
Kesarlal, before Faraz moves into bigger national questions, there is a question on our Facebook from one of our viewers, Shanti Vijayasinghe. She's asking question for Kesarlal. By roads, Gaul Road, drainage system, payments, school development, all needs attention. There are 31 schools in the area which can be developed to the status of Colombo school. Is this doable, or will the gap continue to widen?
It will, because the first phase is over of Gaul Road upliftment, and the second phase from Maliban Junction up to the Velwatha Bridge will take place, and that will clear up all those problems. With regard to the schools, it is a job for the provincial council, because all schools are coming under the provincial councils, and we have been prevailing upon the provincial councils that they need uplift in a big way. But of course, they also may be tied up as far as monies or funds are concerned.
What about, you must be generating a lot of revenue, like he said, it's a very important area, Mount
Yes,
Levine.
I just answered that question.
And it's called Quickie Central.
I
Mount
know.
Levine is also known as Quickie Central.
Yes.
Those in the know will know.
Those in the
why.
know will know.
Yes, that's right. Why it's called Quickie Central.
Yes.
And so that's another part of the economy. And what are you doing to encourage these businesses?
No, you must understand that the majority of the funds that we get from the ratepayers is given back in forms of services.
Right.
And that money is not enough for us.
Right.
This is where I always say that the government, through a budget, in fact I made this request to the Honourable Minister of Finance a couple of months when I met him. I said, look here, if local authorities once in 2-3 years are given a push-up through capital infusement, I said, we'll be in a position to serve better.
I'm sure he'll oblige. Your friend, you broke away from the UNP, and Ravi is your friend, so I'm sure he'll oblige.
He accepted that. He said yes, he agrees with that, because he said a push-up for the local authorities is a must.
That is, brings me in nicely with my next question, which is certainly of national interest. What do you make of good governance and so on in this country, Kesarlal?
For us, this concept of good governance is ideal, but you must understand, I have always said this over and over again. The process it's a big haul. You know, it will take a minimum of 15 to 20 years for us to reach that point. So we start off today. Yeah. We'll end up good governance in 15 or 20 years.
But you know, I read, and I think on one of our shows recently, I also said that there was quite a high level of unemployment. Not worrying, but certainly a high level of unemployment. This has also afflicted senior positions, because our dear Prime Minister had to shop around the world to find somebody to fit the role of the Governor of the Central Bank. So there's obviously some shortage of labour, or professionals even, here. In that same context, I notice, and Bundle has just pointed this out to me, that the board of Sri Lankan Airlines has now got a British member of the European Parliament in Mr. Niranjan Devaditya, who is on the board of Sri Lankan Airlines. Why is there a need to import foreigners onto the board?
Especially a parliamentarian for us. How can you, why should you have?
Maybe at that time that was the line of thinking, but I feel that once these matters are brought to his attention, I'm sure he will give his resignation.
I mean, he is aware of
really?
it, come on.
But of course, I must tell you that Mr. Devaditya's CV and his website reveals that he has a background in aeronautical engineering, and Mr. Devaditya played a pivotal role in the open skies policy when the British government decided to deregulate the airline industry in Britain. Nerj Deva played a pivotal role, and he was on that committee that actually opened up air travel. And he was also part of the consortium that set up one of the first budget airlines in Britain.
In fairness to him, I must say this for us, he has right throughout been helpful to this country. He has always stood for Sri Lanka with practically all issues that were cropped up in the past.
Yes, but it appears, Kesarlal, that we acknowledge Nerj's aeronautical background. He's actually got a degree in aeronautical engineering. But the point is, when, as a foreign member of parliament, and when he sits on the board of this
National
airline, the people feel that there is a profound belief, and they can't be that wrong, that this job, this appointment, is like a sweetener, is like a thank you to Nerj from his dear friend Ranil.
And then, now, see, can we have somebody like, let's say, Suji was saying, as a director of British Airways, you do think that will happen? No.
No, the question is, this is as I said, we have to understand that he has been supportive of Sri Lanka. And maybe
he could be, he is, I'm told he is.
And as long as he has the background, maybe, but I'm sure once these things are brought to his attention, he would opt to resign.
Well, okay.
I don't think he likes this much, this amount of anti-publicity. I don't think he would.
Well, it's not anti-publicity.
It's publicity.
We are merely. Somebody said all publicity is good.
Is good publicity. I totally agree with you on that.
But the thing is, it has a slightly bitter taste, doesn't it?
Because it doesn't happen in any other country. Why should we? We want to make a change. There were mistakes in the past. And he should also realize, people who appoint also should realize.
But we do not know exactly what his contribution is.
That's right.
My point is, you are a former parliamentary. But can you have a parliamentary?
In fairness, yes. In fairness, Sri Lankan Airlines is an organization which has to deal with international agencies.
Right.
Therefore, a person with aeronautical background would be of immense benefit to that organization, I feel. Maybe
well,
in that sense.
That's fair comment. That's fair comment. What about, shall we deal with unparliamentary language?
Definitely.
Because yesterday was Human Rights Day, and we had a couple of commissioners. One made a good contribution. Mr. Wickremesinghe, unfortunately we got to go back to him. In Parliament, there's one occasion during the 19th Amendment debate, he smacked somebody on the shoulder and he said, "Shut up and listen to this." Sorry, but that's what he did. And that was the receiving end. I think was Lakshman somebody or other.
Lakshman Kiryal.
Yes, and then he looked across the divide and he said to somebody, "You came from our party. You speak English. Shut up and listen. Shut up and sit down." He tried the same stunt with Vasudeva, only to be told off. Now we have Chandrika. Bandula, tell us about this.
Yeah, it says, this is from Maubima, the sister paper of Ceylon today. It says, news in brief, Avantgarde Senadipati Mavat Hamben Hadua, Mama Kiwa Gahala Pannano Kiyala.
Is that the kind of language we expect from former president who served 2 terms? Not sure she contributed much, but still.
That's your view.
That's my view.
Now, Faraz, if I may take you back, I mean, when we were studying, when we were schooling, I can still remember Mr. Devadasan telling us to go through the Hansards to read those Hansards, because the English that they spoke was of excellent quality. And those days, I can still remember, good English was referred to as parliamentary language.
Yes.
And whatever bad English that was used was called unparliamentary. That was those days.
That's right.
But in the present day context, there is no parliamentary language, which is good now.
Yeah.
Whatever language that is being used is useless.
Declining standards. DOS would be DOS, Mr. Devadasan.
Yes.
DOS would be
turning in his grave.
Indeed, he would be.
Yeah.
Indeed. But
this is a bad example.
It is a bad example.
We need, we need leaders to realize that they must restrain themselves, and whatever the questions that are being posed to them, they must think that the response of them is going public.
Yeah.
Everybody's
school children will read this.
So therefore, they must restrain themselves.
So shouldn't these people, these poor language-using parliamentarians, politicians, shouldn't they be chased away like some of these other ministers do?
It's the public who brings them there.
Yeah.
It's the public.
So
what can we do?
Are you saying that the public deserves what they get?
At least should they apologize to people and say sorry?
I totally agree. Once these things are brought to the attention of the respective person, they must apologize. But I don't think that those apologies do come in the present day context.
To talk about apologies and decline in standards, keep tuned. We'll be back after this break. Welcome back to Newsline. Good morning to you. We're with Bandula Jayasekara and Kesrulal Gunasekara, the Deputy Mayor of the Devila Mount Lavinia Municipal Council. A decline in standards. One of the viewers has said to me, that's the standard parliamentary language now. And this viewer insists that such poor language-speaking parliamentarians must be chased out.
I totally agree with you.
They must be chased.
I totally agree with the person who responded to those sentiments. But unfortunately, we are in that situation.
But we had Tilak Marapana doing the honourable thing. Which school did he go to?
I think he went to Royal.
Did he? All right.
I'm not going to give you the credit of...
Oh, so he's Royal.
But anyway, school mafia, I think.
Well, he did the honourable thing. He had to do it. But anyway,
he had to do it, yes. I technically feel that he had to do it, yes.
And... Kesrulal, how important, really? You said that the future is through the local authorities and so on. How important is that? The input of the local authorities in the drive towards making our country better?
Take the case of the latest UN decision with regard to the 17th Sustainable Development Goals, which all countries, 180 odd countries, will have to follow.
Yeah.
Now, if you take those 17 SDGs, which normally referred to as, I fundamentally feel 95% of the pursuit of those goals is the job of the local authorities. As to whether the government is interested in the pursuit of the goals is a different question.
Right.
But they will be mandated by the UN to pursue in pursuing those goals. And in that context, unless a center realizes the importance of the local authorities and give them the necessary support, you will not be able to achieve any of those goals.
And I just want to share some information with our dear viewers and with you all here, that the Minister in charge of the prisons, DM Swaminathan, is actually actively pursuing a program in which they are going to be getting tracker or sniffer dogs who are trained to detect contraband like drugs and perhaps even weapons. And it's something that they're looking at, and they are actively pursuing that. Do you think that the municipal council in Mount Lavinia will also go that route? Because it's a resort area, and the availability of drugs is quite a problem.
We have had a series of discussions with the police and the Tourism Development Authority. I think 2 months back also we had a meeting with them, and we insisted on the question of controls in relation to all the outlets along the beach. Some of them are called restaurants, etc. But most of those people who patronize those places, I'm told, are drug users. Now the question is, these are not genuine people who come to patronize restaurants, but there are some of the restaurants are being used for 12-hour functions, 14-hour, 16-hour functions, without music.
Oh, I see.
That's the place.
What about
not the average man who comes to have a meal? That's not the man. But these places are being taken up by other agencies to run a big program for 12-15 hours. You'll see the music on.
Yes, these are beach parties.
Yes, beach parties. And now we are very harsh on these programs, and we have had discussions with the police and said, look here, unless we give them approval, the police have no authority whatsoever to grant them approval to go ahead with those parties. So we are clamping on them. But at the same time, we have told them, as long as you don't use music, it's okay. Then comes the question of usage of drugs. That's the job of the police.
What about harassment of tourists? those areas?
Well, I think it is on the downward decline, because you get the police posts, etc. in Ratmalana and Mount Lavinia, and they are doing a good job, and the complaints are on the decline. But as you say, the tourists themselves they do mingle with these people, etc. And it doesn't. I mean, I don't say that we should clamp down on those as well, because it could be a problem in the end.
Talking of the prisons, Bundle, I thought I'd share some information with you. As you know, the former chief of the Securities and Exchange Commission, Lanka, and a colleague and another person.
It's Dhammika Pereira.
Dhammika Pereira and Ronnie Ibrahim from another organization, who were all remanded recently, a few days ago. Information has come to our light that Dr. Godaheva has had some interesting visitors. They include, in the last few days, the former President Mahinda Rajapaksa, his son Namal Rajapaksa, the state minister in charge of the prison, I think this is Mr. Jayaratna, Dallas Alaperuma, and Kelia Rambukwela. All made their little pilgrimage to the prison hospital, which is where they're being held. I mentioned this just to get you thinking on the wider issues there.
Did these same people visit Sajin Vaskunawardena?
I don't know if they visited Sajin Vaskunawardena. But
Honorable Namal Rajapaksa would have visited the prison because he was the beneficiary.
Well, that is it is entirely possible, because it was his organization that has caused havoc. And you know,
I don't think he realizes that organization caused havoc in the past. I don't think he realizes.
The thing is that organization and the younger Mr. Rajapaksa, there were some reports in some newspapers.
That was an organization. That was an organization.
There was another project.
If I may say this, that was an organization who could call up any organization in this country, government or private, and demand funds. And those funds are channeled to those organizations. And I think somebody should look into those matters and see as to what extent, to what degree, to what extent monies have been swindled through that organization.
No, because this is very interesting. You are a SLFP, former member of parliament and a deputy member saying this. I think that's very interesting for us.
It is indeed.
SLFP saying this.
And also, you know, yesterday, I believe Banul and I, we discussed this issue that people such as Dhammika Pereira, we're not talking about the businessman Dhammika Pereira here.
No.
We're talking about
different
Dhammika Pereira, who's the former acting Director General at the SCC. Now he's an official, and I wonder what he would have, how he would have been dealt with, and Mr. Godeva, if they had, we will discount Mr. Godeva because he was very clearly a political appointment. But let's take the case of Dhammika Pereira, who's been there for a while. Now, what would have happened to him if he had refused to
carry out the orders,
to carry out the request for funds from Taruneta Hetak, whatever it's called? What would have happened to him, do you think?
He'd have been kicked out.
To some far...
this is why I fundamentally, I don't know whether it's correct for me to say this, but I still feel I owe it to the public. I feel that the government has to understand that with regard to investigations of this nature, don't arrest people. You go ahead with the investigations and indict them in court, rather than going through this exercise of taking them into custody. Now take the case of the TRC, where the former Secretary to the President was not arrested.
Yeah.
They are indicting him in court.
There was a procedural error there.
No, it's not a procedural error. That is possible.
Right.
So follow the same procedure with regard to the others, because I feel this doesn't give a good image to the government. The government has to understand that there are certain things that have to be done, but dirt it through the courts. Deal it with the courts. Don't arrest them, because you can be, without arresting them, indict them in courts. That's okay. That's fair enough, because ultimately it's the courts that land out the punishment, meter out the punishment. Let them do that.
Yes, that is.
Because this becomes a mockery. You know, you arrest people and put them to the front line, the main news item, the first page picture, all those things is not warranted, I feel.
But you know, the appointment of Dr. Of Nalaka Godaheva to the position of SEC came at a time when there was intense speculation and intense concern that the Sri Lanka stock market, the Colombo stock market, was going through what Nihal Sri Amarasekara, the public interest litigator, called pumping and dumping. And in this context, there were various companies that were connected to the incoming chairman of the SEC, which is why I say we leave him alone and we talk about an official, because there was no question that Mr. Godaheva was going to refuse this request from Nama Rajapaksa's organization. But in the case of Dhammika Pereira, who was an official there, he would have probably lost his job if he refused to do it.
Exactly. No, since you touched on this, I fundamentally feel for us, over the last 10 years, somebody has to inquire into this matter and see pumping and dumping did take place.
Yes.
In a big way.
I'm so glad you're saying
in
this,
a big way.
Lad, because we are still waiting for the chairman of the SEC, the current chairman, Tilak Karunaratne, to agree to come on our show. He promised to come back. He was ill on one occasion, and then he said he wasn't ill, and he's now saying that he hasn't got the time. Tilak Karunaratne, please find the time to come on Newsline and explain to our viewers and to share your thoughts with the Republic as to what exactly is going on at the SEC and how far you've got in reopening these files. We want to know that. Right?
The country wants to know.
Indeed we do.
Are you?
But that is exactly what has happened, because you know, so many people have lost monies as a result of these things. And I fundamentally feel it is a duty of the government to bring to book everybody who's guilty. You know why? In this country, these operations have been murky.
Well, they've very clearly enjoyed political patronage.
Yeah.
And there's no two ways about it. It has happened.
There was political patronage.
And it still happens, as we can see with the central bank bond issue. And our Prime Minister claims that this has happened only, or it has also happened in the Rajapaksa administration. That doesn't give it any credibility.
I think that was a fundamental mistake that the Prime Minister made. I feel, in respect, I mean, I do not want to comment on his statement, but I feel he should not have referred to the past.
Why should he refer to the past? And why should
there was no necessity for him to refer to
the
the
past?
He would have if he had restrained himself only on that and said, okay, there is nothing, that would have been okay. But no sooner you try to refer to the past, then the average man gets the impression, look here, you are referring to the past because you want there is something that is happening.
Exactly. You're clutching at straws. And a former superintendent of the Public Debt Department, Mr. Vijay Wardena, he told us that there is no such thing as private placements, that these things have were initiated way back in 1998, long before Mahinda Rajapaksa decided to become president of this country, and Mr. Cabral became the governor of the central bank. However, these kind of shows, we are here to keep you informed, and believe me, we will. Because we are the opposition.
We are very pumped up today, Faraz.
Yeah, indeed.
He is.
Yeah, he is.
Thank you very much, Keslal Gunasekara, for being on the show.
You're pumped up.
Thank you for being on Newsline.
It was a pleasure,
Please
Faraz.
come back another time. And thank you, Bandula.
And don't please remind our viewers about the special guests Monday and
Yes,
Tuesday.
Monday, Tuesday, people of the Republic. Please bear in mind, we have a fabulous Monday and Tuesday. We're going to have Nishanta Ranatunga vying to be the president of Sri Lanka cricket. On Tuesday, we have Tilanga Sumitapala, who's also vying to be the president of Sri Lanka cricket. It's going to be an interesting week. Do join Newsline, 7 o'clock, Monday to Friday.
Depoliticization would be the best for Sri Lanka cricket.
Thank you. Thank you for viewing Newsline. Have a great day. Take care and God bless you.
Oh.